So you're thinking about possibly getting an EV? Well, a great place to start would be a Tesla Model 3 if you're thinking about getting an EV sedan. This long-range all-wheel drive is a great one to consider. Tesla's been making EVs for a very long time. They started first offering their Tesla Roadsters in right around 2009, 2010. Then the very successful Model S came out in 2012. They started doing over-the-air updates in 2012. And they're the masters at it. It's kind of funny, Tesla's been doing over-the-air updates in 2012, and there's manufacturers with brand new EVs that are still struggling to do updates on theirs in 2022. And over-the-air updates is really an ace in the hole for Tesla. You hear, oh, Tesla has this recall that just came out, in the news, and oh no, another recall. Well, for Teslas, most of the time a recall is in the over-the-air update, so you don't need to take your Tesla into a service department. They just send it an over-the-air software update, and it's fixed. So, I guess you could call it a recall, but it's not a recall in the most examples where you're taking your car to the dealership and dropping it off and stuff like that. So. They're the masters at the over-the-air update, and that means they're constantly updating the infotainment features, giving it more features, making it safer. They make improvements to the autopilot driver's assistance system. One update they did not too long ago was that you have blind spot cameras, and the Model 3 was out for quite a while, but then they did an update, and now you have cameras when you put on the turn signal. They've been updates where they've updated the infotainment system, the design, the layout. They're all kind of like your iPhone. It's always evolving, it's always getting better. And that's the thing about it too, is like my Tesla's a 2019, but when I get inside my Tesla, even though my screen is a little bit of older design, the processor is older, it's not as fast as this 2022, but for the most part, the functionality and features are very similar. I don't have all the features of a 2022. So the nice thing is, if you own this Tesla, even when it's 4 or 5 years old, you're not going to feel like it's obsolete. You're still going to benefit from all the updates and features that Tesla's rolling out, and your infotainment system and your features are going to be very similar to what buyers of brand new Teslas have. So in a lot of ways, this is a vehicle that, even though it gets older, it still gets better, it still improves, and there's very few cars that I can think of that are like that aside from a Tesla. And that's the difference. Electric vehicles are very different than gas cars. It's like a computer or a smartphone on wheels. They might look the same, but a Caterpillar and a butterfly are, related, but they're very different in the way they function. Just like, electric vehicles and cars of internal combustion engines. The way you build them, the way you operate them is different in a lot of ways, even though outside, they may look the same. It has 4 wheels, it has a trunk, it has a steering wheel, but aside from that, they start to get a lot different. 2022 is a great year for the Model 3 because it's benefited from a lot of updates. There's a lot of things on this 2022 Tesla that I wish my 19 had. So if you're considering a newer one like this, I can maybe point out a few differences between this 2022 versus some older Model 3s, if you're considering some different years and the Model 3. So this is a long-range Tesla. So for 2022, the only way to get a long-range Tesla is with dual motors. So it has a motor in the front, it has a motor in the back, making it all-wheel drive. So it has amazing traction in wet, slippery conditions, amazing traction in the snow, and it's very quick. So having all-wheel drive and having 2 electric motors is almost like having 2 engines. So 0 to 60 is a little under 5 seconds. Well, looks like this little birdie likes a Tesla. Man, I lost my train of thought. You also have amazing range. You have an amazing supercharging network. So Tesla has chargers all over the place. And it's not just supercharging. You can use these lightning bolts. So this is destination charging. So if you want to charge it overnight, like at a hotel, that will let you know where they're located. And this is kind of like level 2 charging. So this will add about maybe 20, 30 miles, 50 miles of range per hour. So if you're at the movie theater, you're shopping, you can charge your vehicle for a couple hours and it'll be fully charged. Then we have the supercharging, where you want to get your car charged in a half hour, 40 minutes. And you don't always need to get a full charge. If you want to add 100 miles in the pinch, in one instance I rolled into a supercharger of about 20 miles left. I went into the Starbucks next door, came back in about 10 minutes, I was already at 100 miles. So Maybe if I just needed an extra 50, 60 miles to get where I need to go, and then I can plug it in, you don't need to wait the whole 30 minutes or 40 minutes to supercharge it. And Tesla superchargers are very reliable. I can hear a lot of anecdotal stories of people with non-Tesla EVs struggling on road trips to not only find chargers, but to find chargers that are working, and to find chargers that are charging as fast as they're advertised to charge. And you know, don't take my word for it. Do some research, do some YouTubing, and you can see a lot of you know, people in the EV, you know, doing EV videos and stuff like that. With the non-Teslas, they're often running into problems, and they're pretty much writing off doing road trips in Teslas, where it's the complete opposite. You know, sometimes we find people that are trading in non-Tesla EVs for Teslas just because they want to be able to, you know, road trip and be able to supercharge, and that can be a problem for a lot of other people that don't have Teslas. It's always good to navigate to the supercharger, because it will precondition your battery for faster charging, even if you know where the supercharger is. That way the charging will happen the fastest and the most efficient as possible. You can see it's starting to heat up the battery, so it will charge the most efficiently when we get to the supercharger. But we're not going to go right now. We got plenty of charge on this one. So you have this amazing screen. You know, you have these Google Maps. This comes with premium connectivity. You have these amazing parking cameras for great visibility. You have the blind spot cameras. You have front and rear parking sensors. Adjusting the climate control is really nice as well. We have a heated steering wheel. Heated steering wheel didn't come to the Model 3, I think, till 2021. So if you want a heated steering wheel, 2021 or newer for the Model 3, which is a nice feature, obviously, of heated seats. And this is like a tablet, you know, directing the airflow is very easy. We have camp mode, dog mode. You can pull up live camera views outside. So a Sentry Mode, you can pull up, you have cameras all around the vehicle, so you can look around the outside. And now you can look at the inside camera. So maybe if you have your dog in the car and you want to check on him, if you have it in dog mode, you can do that. Or if you just want to, you know, look inside your vehicle for whatever reason, now you can do that. So that's really nice. And this also has a dash cam. And it's not just a dash cam, it's a dash cam that records 360-degree view around the vehicle. And it records an hour worth of data. So if something happens, you get in an accident, you get a ticket, you don't think it's your fault. Maybe there's a crazy driver or some crazy event that happens, you want to post it on social media. All of that will be recorded in high definition. And there's a inside the glove compartment, there's a port where you can hook up a you know, a data drive to record all that data. Pretty awesome stuff. You have a lot of voice commands. So you know, people say, oh, I don't want to have to swipe through the screen to put on the wipers and all that stuff. Well, you don't need to. Wipers on 1. Just like that. Wipers off. Heated seats on. Rear defroster on. Make it warmer. Every time I say make it warmer, we'll raise the temperature by 3 degrees. Make it cooler. Likewise, it will keep on lowering the temperature by 3 degrees. So you don't need to take your hand off the road to adjust things. You can just use the voice commands. Pretty intuitive. Let's keep this video rolling along. So in 2021, they updated the center console, so you have this nice wireless charging pad, a little bit of a nicer design. So that's one perk of having a 2021 or newer Tesla, is having that. They added wood interior trim onto the doors. Before, the wood was just on the dashboard, and then they added it onto the doors. So that's a little bit of a subtle different for 2021. This has some nice aftermarket seat covers. Of course, you can take them out if you don't like them, but I would leave them in there. Nice shade of blue. Also in 2021, they added black accents. So they have before they had chrome accents on Teslas. Now it's completely blacked out. All this used to be kind of a chrome metal color. So it's a little bit of a different style. Some people might like it, some people might not. Also, one other thing that they started adding in Teslas, which mine doesn't have, I think it was 2022, is Tesla glass. So this is double pane glass. You kind of see there's a double pane here. In between, they sandwich sound deadening materials. So my Model 3 doesn't have it. It's quiet already. Quieter than most other cars, but adding that makes it even quieter. This thing is just like a sensory deprivation chamber. It is so quiet. Decent amount of interior space, even though the Model 3 is a compact, because it's not a conventional vehicle. You don't have a transmission tunnel, you don't have drive shafts and stuff like that. You have a completely flat floor for excellent interior space. I actually sometimes feel like I have more space inside my Tesla than sometimes in full-size SUVs, you know, gas-powered SUVs that we have at work when I'm driving them. I find myself more comfortable in my 3. And I'm not little, I'm 6'2". Another nice feature is a power-operated trunk that also arrived in 2021 in newer Teslas. Before it was just a manual trunk, but now you have a power-operated trunk. Not gonna make it a break things for everybody, but it's a nice feature to have. Very large trunk. Generally, you're gonna have more interior space and more storage space than a comparable gas-powered vehicle with the Model 3, just because of the construction. For instance, you know, the trunk's pretty big already, but look at this. Normally you'd have a gas tank here, but you now have even more space. Pretty amazing. The Model 3 is one of the safest vehicles ever tested by the NHTSA. Lowest probability of injury in a vehicle accident pretty much than any other vehicle on the road. So not only is this thing very efficient, amazing performance, you're going to outperform most gas cars on the road. You can just take... It's almost addicting, the instant throttle response. There's no gear changes, you just hit the throttle. There's no thinking, the engine doesn't have to rev up, it just goes. And you can smoke a lot of people in performance gas cars in this Model 3. And this is not even the performance variant of the Model 3, but in its own right, this thing is very fast. And since there's no engine here, you have the front, so you have more storage space. Also, this adds to the safety. You have all this space here to absorb crash energy in a frontal collision. With regenerative braking, I think it'll be quite a while, maybe 150,000 miles, if not longer, when you'd have to do brakes. Brakes can be expensive. Sometimes on a performance car, it can be $2,000 for a set of front brakes, like on a high-performance Audi. Or just front and rear brakes on a regular car could be $1,000, $2,000. So that's one maintenance item you're not going to have to worry about. No oil changes. I'm the used car manager, so I'm running cars through the shop, and they're recommending, you know, transmission flushes. I'm recommending on some vehicles, you know, front and rear differential services at, you know, 27,000 miles. You're not going to have to do any transmission flushes. There's only one gear. There's no transmission to service, no differentials to service, no brakes to replace, no spark plugs, no catalytic converter for anyone to steal. Often, you know, you'll find service departments recommending fuel induction services or EFI services. You're not going to have to pay for that in this thing. I've had my Tesla 6 months. The only thing that I've done is change the engine air filter. Go to a premium luxury you know, service department, and for a 30,000 mile service, they're going to try upselling you. You know, you'll find yourself, you know, going in for an oil change, but you might get upsold and walk out of there spending $1,500 on induction services or a fuel system service or things like that. You know, so, you know, not only are you going to save money on electricity, but the other big thing you're going to save money on with EVs is maintenance. And I think when more people realize this, that these are essentially, you know, very, very little maintenance. You're, you know, changing wiper blades, rotating tires, very little maintenance. It's going to make a very big impact. I think a lot more people are going to start switching to EVs when they realize that, because they just think about the you know, gas versus, you know, electricity cost. Well, that's one aspect, but, you know, automotive maintenance can be very expensive. I own, you know, a few vehicles, a few gas power vehicles. In the past year, I've done timing belts, I've done catalytic converters. I had a gas gauge break on one of my cars, so I had to fix that. That was $700. Those are all things that I'm not really going to have to deal with my Tesla. So that's why they call this a category killer. Every aspect you look at it, it just dominates pretty much everyone else it competes with. Tesla is very, very far ahead in a lot of ways than pretty much everyone else is. Not just with EVs, but with cars in general. And I think, you know, we're starting to realize this, but I think in another few years, I think a lot more people are going to start realizing this, and you're going to start seeing a lot more Teslas on the road. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.